Team Iron Strike, this is Greg Fontaine giving you a deck profile by
Sam Burke.
He is doing a deck profile on
Blue Eyes.
Dragon deck. Let's begin. Can you
Okay,
explain
thank you.
each card?
Okay, so for starters, I'm going to talk about all the monsters that I play with, starting with Blue Eyes White Dragons, 3. Personal fan favorite of mine, all very, very powerful, and everything in the deck revolves around these 3. Everything. So make sure you have 3. Next up, I have play with Dragon Spirit of White, also 3. They're a good substitution for Blue Eyes. They're both level 8. They're not quite as strong, but they do come with a nice little effect of banishing cards. They're in there, so make sure you have 3 of them, because they're a good substitute. And you can also use them to bring out 1 Blue Eyes. Okay, next up, 2 Alexandrite Dragons. Pretty simple. They have some pretty good attack. You can use them to defend and use it to bring out a certain Xyz monster, but we'll get to that soon. Okay, moving on. Now in this deck, there are a lot of tuner monsters here that can help with summoning Blue Eyes, such as Sage with Eyes of Blue. Now the Sage here, you can use this to discard it and then destroy 1 effect monster on your field to bring out Blue Eyes from your deck. Very good. Now the biggest one on here is Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Only have 1. If it is targeted for an attack, you can negate the attack, switch its position to defense, and bring out Blue Eyes from either your hand, your deck, or your graveyard. Very good. Now I have 3 White Stone of Legends here. Yeah, they're a good thing to set to defend. If you destroy them, you're able to get a Blue Eyes from your deck to your hand, straight to your hand. Okay, next up we have Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. This is the first and only ritual monster in this deck. Now, Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon cannot be targeted by other effects, and its attack power is 4,000. That will definitely come in handy. Okay, next up, for my next dragon, I have 1 Dark Blaze Dragon. Now, for him, he doubles his attack points if, and only if, he is special summoned from the graveyard, which is a great way to do. Okay, next for a basic monster, I play with 1 Kaiser Seahorse, because his effect lets me use him as 2 tributes to bring out 1 light monster, in which case, Blue Eyes, White Dragon. Okay, here we have Protector with the Eyes of Blue here. Yep, this allows you to bring out 1 Blue Eyes from your hand after you resolve its other effect. That's good. Okay. Up here, we have 1 Kaiba Men. Now this will let you bring out 1 Blue Eyes immediately from your hand, which that'll definitely help down the road. If you want to get 2, you can. That would help even more. Okay, next up we have Effect Veiler. Also a tuner, only 1. Pretty simple. You can use its effect during either player's turn to negate the effect of any monster or trap or spell, which you'll definitely need. Okay, now for my last 3 basic monsters here, I have these. Okay, first, I have 1 Exploder Dragon, because if you attacks it, it blows up the one who attacks it too. So that is like a sacrifice. Play with 1 Gene Warped Werewolf, much like Alexandrite Dragon. And lastly, one Shining Angel, because when that gets destroyed, you're able to bring out another light monster. I have here one Master with Eyes of Blue. The blue, you'll definitely need at least one or two of them in the profile. And now, the last monster I have here is Crystal Dragon. It comes in very handy because not only does it have 2,500 attack points, but if it battles, you can use it to get one Blue Eyes to your hand. Okay, put those off to the side, and now we'll move into our spells and traps. Okay, so for the first spell I play with one Night Beam. This lets you look and destroy one set spell or trap your opponent has on the field and cannot be stopped. I have one Shrink here, which cuts the attack points of any monster, which you'll need. Terraforming lets you add one field spell to your hand, and in my opinion, every deck should have at least one field spell, because that'll definitely come in handy down the road. Next up, we have Megamorph. Yeah, Morph, it'll double the attack points of your monster, or it depends on how high your life points are. If yours are lower, then it doubles. If yours are higher, then sadly it cuts it in half. Now this here, Dragon Fighting Spirit. Let's say you have a Blue Eyes out in the field that was special summoned, and you can use this for every special summon monster your opponent has. It can attack that many number of times. And next up we have Burst Stream of Destruction. This here is a Blue Eyes signature move card. Alright, if you have Blue Eyes out on the field and you play this, you can nuke every other monster your opponent has. Unfortunately, if you do, you can't send Blue Eyes into attack afterwards. I play with one Pot of Duality. You get to search for one card out of 3 from the top of your deck and send the rest back inside. I have 2 polymerizations here. It's here because I do play with a lot of fusions in this deck, which we'll get into. One Trade In. If you have a Blue Eyes in your hand, and you can play this, send it to the graveyard and draw 2 cards. Then you can use another effect from a monster or another spell card to bring the Blue Eyes out, if necessary. These also come in handy. The Melody of Awakening Dragons. I play with 2 of them. You can use these 2 to get up to 2 Blue Eyes straight to your hand. And this comes in handy too, Silver's Cry. This lets you take 1 Blue Eyes from your graveyard and bring it back to the field. Which you'll definitely need. The only field spell I have in the deck so far is Mountain, because it increases all dragons' attack by 200, and this deck is centered around dragons. Here we have Dragon Shrine. This will send 1 dragon to the grave, and if you choose Blue Eyes, then you can send another one in, and you can get them back later on. I used this card to send Dark Blaze Dragon to the graveyard, and then brought it back so it could double its attack points and get the jump. And lastly, we have Chaos Form, the ritual card used to bring out Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. You can't have Max Dragon without it. Okay, good. Now we go into the trap cards. So here we have 1 Malevolent Catastrophe, which if your opponent declares an attack, you get to blow up all their spells and traps, if they have any. If you don't, well then, you're out of luck. I have 1 Bottomless Trap Hole here. I've used that plenty number of times. If your opponent brings out a monster with 1,500 or more, it's banished for the rest of the game. Call of the Haunted, pretty basic, brings 1 back from the grave. Shadow Spell comes in handy to trap a monster on your opponent's side of the field and decrease its attack by 700. Torrential Tribute. This will get rid of all other monsters on the field if your opponent summons. 1 negate attack, stops 1 attack. Dust Tornado destroys one spell or trap, and then you can set another one down afterwards. Now here we have Giant Trap Hole. Oh, and this does help me, because if your opponent special summons 2 or more monsters at the same time, which they've usually been doing nowadays, you can use this to blow up everything they have on the field. Sasquatch Armor, this will destroy one monster that attacks you. Okay. Tyrant Wing here. This gives a dragon type monster an additional 400 attack points, and it can attack twice during the battle phase. So that comes in handy. And now for the last trap card of the deck, I have 1 Ring of Destruction. Okay, so that does it for trap cards. And now we move on into the extra deck. Now, in my extra deck, I have the 3 kinds: Xyz, Fusion, and Synchro. But most of them are fusions. So we'll start with the Xyz. So for my first Xyz here, I play with 1 Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, because this bad boy can use both its overlay units to absorb half the attack of a monster, and he gains it. So it can render him useless. Almost. Next up, we have Thunder End Dragon. Now this bad boy, you can use 2 Blue Eyes to bring it out if you have them on the field. And if you use 1 overlay unit, it can nuke every other monster in play. So those are my only 2 Xyz. Now we go on to Synchros. First up, we have Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. I play with 2 of them, and these guys, you can use them to bring out a Blue Eyes from your graveyard during your phase. Okay, and for my last one here, I play with 1 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. With this, neither player can special summon 2 or more at once, and he comes in quite handy. Okay, now we move on into fusions. I have 5 fusions. So here, I have 3 Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragons. Now you can either use polymerization for these, or you can remove them from the field. Now these guys can't be destroyed by battle and can attack up to 2 times in a row per battle phase. So if I play with 3 of them. Next up, I play with First of Dragon, only 1. It cannot be destroyed except with a normal monster. And now for my last fusion card, I have 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. It needs all 3 to bring it out, just like the regular Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Now, with him, by sacrificing another Blue Eyes fusion monster from your extra deck, he can make up to 2 attacks per row, per battle phase, along with his incredible attack power. Okay. And that wraps up the extra deck.
And please like and subscribe.
And we'll see you next time.